Rescued 3 alien girls from a drunk. Now they refuse to leave. Jace Forrester swiped his last credits for a drink at the grimy bar on Nexus 7's lower levels. 6 months stranded on this backwater trading hub had drained his accounts and his hope. The Mechanics Guild had blacklisted him after he reported safety violations on the mining vessels, leaving him scraping by with odd repair jobs. "Another," he muttered, sliding his empty glass forward. The bartender, a 4-armed Salaxian, shook his head. "That's it for credit, human." A commotion erupted from the back room, shouting, then the sound of something fragile shattering. Jace turned to see a hulking Draken merchant dragging 3 slender figures into the main area. Prime specimens, rare Lumidians, empaths of the highest quality. The merchant's voice boomed across the bar. "Starting bid at 10,000 credits. Jace's stomach twisted as he saw the 3 women. Their skin had a subtle opalescent quality, shifting between pale blue and lavender. They wore simple grey shifts, and each had delicate features with striking violet eyes. Their long hair varied in shade, one silver, one midnight blue, one with strands that seemed to shimmer between colors. "They're sisters," the merchant slurred. "Solène, Tavia, and Mira trained for companion work." One of the sisters, Tavia with midnight blue hair, spat at the merchant's feet. "We are not companions. We are scholars of the Lumidian Academy." The merchant backhanded her, and Jace was on his feet before he realized what he was doing. "How much?" Jace asked, voice steady despite the rage building inside him. The merchant eyed him skeptically. "You can't afford them." Jace pulled out his mechanics toolkit, premium Terran steel, worth more than everything else he owned combined. "This, plus repair services for your ship. I noticed the plasma conduits were leaking when you docked." Minutes later, Jace led the 3 sisters to his cramped apartment, wondering what madness had possessed him. "I'm not keeping you," he explained quickly. "I'll help you contact your people." Solène, the silver-haired one, touched his arm gently. "You saved us without seeking advantage. That is rare." Something warm and unfamiliar flickered in the back of Jace's mind as their eyes met. 3 days had passed since Jace brought the Lumidian sisters to his apartment, and already the space felt transformed. Solène had somehow coaxed vibrant blue flowers to grow from the nutrient paste he'd neglected in his food synthesizer. They climbed the wall in elegant patterns, softening the harsh metal surfaces of his quarters. "Your environment affects your spirit," she explained, her silver hair catching the light as she arranged the last bloom. "These will filter toxins and promote calm." Jace nodded awkwardly, unsure how to respond to such unexpected beauty in his life. Tavia, meanwhile, had established herself as their protector. She'd rigged a makeshift alarm system from his spare parts and spent hours watching the corridor through the viewport. Her midnight blue hair was often tied back as she practiced fluid dance-like combat forms. "The merchant, Drex, has connections," she warned. "I've seen his associates scouting the lower markets." Mira, the youngest with her color-shifting hair, had become fascinated with his broken equipment. Her nimble fingers repaired his atmospheric analyzer with surprising skill. "Your technology is primitive but elegant," she mused, eyes bright with curiosity. "The principles translate across galaxies." That night, Jace woke to find himself unusually warm. A soft glow emanated from the sisters as they slept nearby on makeshift beds. The light pulsed gently, and with each pulse, Jace felt a whisper of something in his mind. "It's the preliminary bond," Mira explained the next morning when she caught him staring at the fading luminescence on their skin. "Our nervous systems respond to genuine compassion." "Bond?" Jace nearly choked on his synthetic coffee. Solène approached, her movements graceful. "Our species forms connections differently than humans. When someone shows true kindness without expectation of return, our bodies recognize a compatible spirit." Tevye crossed her arms. It wasn't our choice. It simply happens. Can it be reversed? Jace asked cautiously. The sisters exchanged glances, a silent communication passing between them. Technically, yes, Mira finally answered, but separation becomes increasingly uncomfortable over time. Later, as Jace worked on repairing a client's navigation system, he found himself instinctively reaching for tools before needing them. Solen would hand them to him moments before he realized what he needed. "How did you know?" he asked. She smiled softly. "I felt your intention forming. The bond allows glimpses of thought patterns." Jace's hand brushed against hers as he took the tool, and a pleasant warmth spread up his arm. He quickly pulled away, but not before noticing how Solen's skin glowed slightly brighter at the contact. That night, he lay awake, wondering what he'd gotten himself into, and why part of him didn't want to escape it. Cultural bridges. In Lumidian culture, we don't have the concept of ownership in relationships, Mira explained as she helped Jace calibrate his portable scanner. A week had passed, and their presence had become a comfortable rhythm in his life. "Our bonding is based on resonance, not possession," she continued, her hair shifting through shades of purple and blue as she concentrated. Three sisters often share a complementary connection with one partner, each bringing different aspects to the relationship. Jace's hands fumbled with the delicate instrument. "That's not how humans typically form relationships." "We know," Tavia interjected from her position by the window. "We've studied enough species to understand the difference." Her voice carried a hint of defensiveness. "We don't expect you to conform to our ways." Solen, who had been quietly painting with pigments she'd extracted from local plants, looked up. "But we hope you'll be open to understanding. The bond forms only when there's genuine compatibility." That evening, Jace took them to the station's observation deck. The sisters stood transfixed as the binary stars of the Nexus system set, casting the space around them in crimson and gold. "It reminds me of the luminous tides on our homeworld," Solen whispered, her hand finding Jace's. The contact sent a pleasant shiver through him, a sensation becoming increasingly familiar. As they walked back to his quarters, Jace found himself sharing stories of Earth, of oceans and forests, of human traditions and celebrations. The sisters listened intently, asking questions that revealed their deep empathy and understanding. "Humans value choice in their connections," Mira observed thoughtfully. "We value recognition, the acknowledgement of souls that belong together." Later that night, Jace awoke to find Solen sitting beside his bed, her skin glowing softly. "You were having nightmares," she said quietly. "About the mining accident." Jace stiffened. He'd never told them about the collapse that had killed his crew, the disaster that led to his whistleblowing and subsequent blacklisting. "I felt your pain," she explained, placing her hand near his, but not touching. "If you permit, I can ease it." After a moment's hesitation, Jace nodded. Solen's fingers gently touched his temple, and a cooling sensation washed through him, carrying away the jagged edges of his guilt and grief. "This is what the bond offers," she whispered. "Not possession, but presence. Not control, but comfort." For the first time since arriving on Nexus 7, Jace slept without dreams of darkness and collapsed tunnels. And when he woke, something inside him had shifted, a door opening to possibilities he'd never considered before. Shadow's return. The marketplace buzzed with its usual chaotic energy as Jace navigated through vendors, a bag of supplies slung over his shoulder. After 3 weeks with the Lumidian sisters, he'd secured a legitimate contract, repairing environmental systems. His first steady work since being blacklisted. "Credit where it's due," he murmured to himself. "Myra's calculations improved my efficiency by 30%. A familiar warmth brushed his consciousness, the sisters acknowledging his thought from across their strengthening bond. Jace no longer startled at these mental touches. They had become welcome companions to his previously solitary mind. As he rounded the corner toward his apartment block, a heavy hand clamped onto his shoulder. Jace spun to find himself facing 3 Draken mercenaries, with Drex, the merchant he'd taken the sisters from, standing behind them. The human who stole my property, Drex snarled. Those Lumidians were worth a fortune to the right buyer. They're not property, Jace replied, dropping his bag and shifting into a defensive stance. And they're not for sale. The first mercenary lunged forward. Jace dodged and landed a solid punch, but the second attacker caught him with a blow to the ribs that sent him sprawling. Bring him, Drex ordered. The Lumidians will surrender to save their bonded. Through the pain, Jace felt a surge of alarm that wasn't his own. The sisters had sensed the attack through their connection. Stay away, he projected desperately, unsure if they could hear him. It's a trap. The mercenaries dragged him into an alley. As they prepared to load him onto a transport, a brilliant light flashed at the alley's entrance. The 3 sisters stood there, their skin glowing with intense radiance. They moved in perfect synchrony, as if choreographed. Release him, they spoke in unison, their voices harmonizing in an otherworldly chord. When the mercenaries advanced, the sisters joined hands. A wave of energy pulsed outward, and Jace felt the bond between them surge open completely. Through their eyes, he saw the mercenaries' fear, felt Drex's desperate greed, and understood the sisters' absolute resolve. The mercenaries collapsed, overwhelmed by the empathic assault. Only Drex remained standing, a disruptor raised toward Jace. If I can't have them, no one. Jace felt the sisters' intention a moment before they acted. They directed their combined energy through their bond, using Jace as a conduit. His hand moved with impossible speed, deflecting the disruptor as it fired. The blast caught Drex instead, leaving him unconscious. As station security arrived, Jace stared at the sisters in awe. What they had done shouldn't have been possible. They had temporarily merged their consciousness with his own. Blood trickled from Tavia's nose. Solène swayed on her feet, and Mira's shimmering hair had dulled to ash grey. The full bond, Mira whispered, her voice weak. It wasn't meant to activate so soon. Recovery came slowly. For days after the confrontation, the sisters remained in a weakened state, their luminescence dimmed to a faint glow. Jace tended to them tirelessly, his mind still reeling from the experience of their merged consciousness. You nearly killed yourselves, he said one evening, as he brought Solène a cup of herbal tea. The silver-haired Lumidian was finally sitting up, though her normally radiant skin remained pale. We nearly saved you, she corrected gently. There is a difference. Tavia, regaining her strength faster than her sisters, sat cross-legged nearby. The bond is complete now. What happened in the alley sealed it permanently. I didn't ask for that, Jace said, though without anger. Neither did we, Mira replied, her hair slowly regaining some of its shifting colors. That's not how true bonds work. They simply are. As the sisters recovered, Jace found himself at a crossroads. Station security had detained Drex and his mercenaries. With the threat removed, he could help the sisters contact their homeworld, find them transport, let them go. Yet each time he considered it, a hollow ache spread through his chest. One night, he stood at the viewport, watching distant ships traverse the starscape. Solène joined him, her presence a gentle warmth against his consciousness. You're thinking of sending us away, she observed. I'm thinking of giving you a choice, Jace corrected. Tavia approached from his other side. Our people have a saying. The stars may choose different paths, but they still shine in the same sky. What we share is rare, Mira added, completing their circle around him. Even among Lumidians. Jace turned to face them. On Earth, relationships like this, they're not conventional. Conventional is rarely extraordinary, Selene replied, her hand finding his. I'm just a mechanic, Jace said. Blacklisted, barely. Surviving. You're the man who risked everything for 3 strangers, Tavia countered, her fierce eyes softening. The man who chose compassion when others chose exploitation. The man whose mind fits perfectly with ours, Mira finished. Jace looked at each of them, Selene with her gentle wisdom, Tavia with her protective strength, Mira with her boundless curiosity, 3 distinct souls who had somehow become essential parts of his own. I don't know where we go from here, he admitted. Forward, they answered in unison. As Jace embraced them, their skin began to glow with renewed brilliance. The light spread to him as well, illuminating the small apartment with colors that had no names in human language. Outside, a transport ship departed Nexus 7, carrying news to the Lumidian homeworld of 3 sisters who had found their bond in the most unexpected place. And in a once-empty apartment now filled with light, 4 hearts beat as one, creating a harmony that transcended the boundaries of species and space.